Are you a pedophile?
I would have to classify myself definitely as one, because I did it. I mean, there's no backing down from what I did, obviously.
You talk about your daughter, but your niece was also a victim.
Yeah, I did touch her in wrong places. I've done that on a couple occasions. I did.
You heard that right, and we are about to watch the caricature of what a chomo, a roach, is. Thank goodness Miss Bonnie Jackson has this case, and it is a classic. Now, let's take a step back, take a deep breath, and watch something that you just might not believe what you're seeing. With that, let's jump in.
So you are Donald J. Bordelon. Your DOC number is 433-858. You're classified as a first felony offender. You're currently serving a 40-year sentence for forcible rape, aggravated or sexual battery, 2 counts, sexual battery. You were sentenced in the Balls Parish on November 13, 2000. Your parole eligibility date's August 1st, 2021. You don't earn good time, and you have a full term date, May 20th, 2040. Is that information correct, sir?
My original paper said I had 85% at 2034, 85%.
Well, what I'm looking at, let's see, this is your master prison record, which is dated March 17 of this year, which shows the full term date in 2040.
Right. I have my court minutes, not with me, but I have them in the dorm.
Well, just so you know, I mean, we rely on DOC, so we're going by the DOC information. Have a dispute with that, you can take up a classification at your facility. Okay. So you're currently in Allen. How old are you, sir?
I just made 58.
Yay. How long have you been in jail?
In jail, I've been incarcerated since May 20th, 2000.
Almost 22 years.
Coming up on it.
Your 40-year sentence. So I need to let you know that as part of the process, we reach out to the community to get their attitude about an early release. And in your case, you need to be aware that the entire legal community, law enforcement, they're opposed to an early release. So, Mr. Bordelon, tell us about what you've been doing for the last almost 22 years in terms of rehabilitative programs. Tell us what you've done.
I don't know if you have all my programs in front of you, but here at Allen, they told me that Cottonport, where I come from, which is Raymond Laborde, sent them basically only my pre-release papers. And I said, well, when I got to Cottonport, I had my sexual predator class, anger management, parenting, and so forth. And they said, well, we don't have it here. So I was hoping they sent it to the board, what I did have.
So tell us about, you said you called it sexual predator. So you've taken some sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am. I had my certificates. Too many shakedowns. They lost my paperwork in the dorm, shaking us down and wound up everywhere. I never could find them. And
Where were you took those classes? Where were you located? What facility?
Angola. I was in Angola at the time. 2003, 2004 is when I was taking all these classes.
Yeah. How many phases of the sex offender treatment class did you take?
All phases.
How many phases?
I believe it was 4 phases.
So tell me what you learned about yourself.
Ma'am?
What did you learn during those classes?
Well, I've learned a lot of words that I did not know, and I learned a lot about myself and so forth. That's what I mostly learned.
What did you learn about yourself?
About myself?
Yes, sir.
what I learned about myself is how disappointed person that I am about myself, and looking at what I've learned in there, and hearing from other men that were up in there. Um, Actually, I became very scared is what I learned about the situation for me. Going to these classes makes me more aware of who I am, who I could be, and I scare myself, and that's what I've learned.
So, Mr. Bordelon, let's just talk a little bit about why you're in jail. So, according to the records that we have, the victims in this case were your biological daughter and your niece. And how old were they?
Oh, now 9, 10.
And so during the course of your, were there drugs and alcohol involved in this crime?
No, ma'am, I don't have a drug problem. Drink every now and then, at parties, I might drink there. Every now and then I might buy like a 6-pack. It was never a problem. That's not why I did what I did. It's drugs and
So during
alcohol.
the course of your treatment, did you figure out why you did what you did?
Um, my wife would always ask me, why are you so quiet? I could never come up because when I grew up, bad things happened to me, but that's another story. I did what I did. That's on me. Maybe long ago when I was young, I should have said something to my mother and father. I didn't, and I had a lot of things held inside me. And it's my fault. I did what I did. I mean, when I did what I did, I told myself, don't do it, don't do it. I wouldn't do it. And I went to a depressive state. And I thought, well, maybe what you want to do. And the more I did it,
How long of a period of time did this happen? This
it was
wasn't a
over like a 2-year
one time.
period.
Excuse me?
It was like over a 2-year period.
Have you given any thought to the fact that your actions had on those young girls?
Um, it was devastating to them because um, my daughter had written me and she said she almost committed suicide. And I didn't, I didn't, at that time when I did what I did, I wasn't seeing that. And hearing her, well, not hearing her, but her writing me and her telling me how she felt, but did she still miss me? That hurt. That hurt me bad.
I wish I had the documentation that you completed the sex offender treatment. We don't have anything like that in our record. So let me ask you this, Mr. Bordelon, why do you believe that given the nature of your crime and the impact you've had on your victims, why do you think we ought to grant you an early release?
Well, one, I need to be back in society. I need to prove myself right. I need to prove myself right to my victim. I want to make it right for her. And I want her to see me face to face and tell me how it is. She needs to see me and tell me how it is, how she feels, and I want to do everything for her. Just,
What is your transition plan should you be released early? Where would you live?
there's a guy, his name is Pete, and he has an Air Force, he's just renovating Air Force Base in Lake Charles, and he has a place for me to stay and a job. So that would be my start right there. But of course, always moving up and up and up and getting a better and better job. That's obvious. But I do have a place to stay.
Well, I see that your conduct record is okay. Your last write-up was in 2015, 7 or more years ago. What are you involved in any programs now?
I've been moving around since the coronavirus and everything, not right now, but they do have me signed back up for anger management. But I did have anger management. I don't know why they don't have my paperwork, because I went to Cottonport with it. And I don't know where it's at. It's not my folder.
Well, Ms. Jackson has some questions. Good morning, Mr. Bordelon. My name is Bonnie Jackson. Because we all have the benefit of your documentation about sex offender treatment, I do want to ask some questions. Do you know what a sexual predator is? Is that something that you talked about or was talked about in the sex offender classes?
Well, specifically, what?
You've never heard the term sexual predator?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Sexual predator, voyagers, and stuff like that. Yes.
Talked about that in the sex offender classes?
Yes, ma'am.
What's a pedophile?
A pedophile is someone who likes younger. He's a rapist of young children. That's what a pedophile is.
Are you a pedophile?
I would have to classify myself definitely as one, because I did it. I mean, there's no backing down from what I did, obviously.
You talk about your daughter, but your niece was also a victim.
Yeah, I did touch her in wrong places. I've done that on a couple occasions. I did. But there are no others. They are the only two.
I hope that's correct, but we don't have any way to know that one way or the other. What assurance can we have that if you're released, you wouldn't reoffend? Some other young girl would not be a victim.
Well, for one thing, I never put myself in a situation to be alone with a young child. That's number one. I will walk the other way. But one other thing is realizing what I've done and thinking about it over the 22 years, really, the last 15, the first 5, 6 years of being incarcerated, you're still confused about things. You tend to think, the world ain't better than me. Ain't nobody better than me. I ain't no worse than anybody else. But the last 15 years, yeah, I can't go on like that. I don't want to think of myself like that. I really don't. In fact, when I see kids on TV, I get real scared. I'm like, oh, I can't, and I know.
Let me stop, because I heard you mention that earlier. It sounds to me, I'm just paraphrasing what I'm hearing from you.
Right.
Sounds to me is that you yourself are afraid that you possibly do this again, unless there's some really, really strict controls around you.
Right. I don't ever want to be alone. I don't want to put my situation in that.
I understand that, but what it sounds like to me is that those urges are still there, and your way of protecting yourself and the victim is to not be around young girls alone. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Right. Well, you want to believe that you never reoffend, but I would never put myself in a situation to think that I could reoffend. I say I won't.
Yeah, I understand,
Right.
because
sexual urges can be pretty strong, Mr. Borderline.
Well,
And, and you may say that you'll make sure you're not around young females, but, if those urges start to reemerge, it seems like the urges might overpower your desire not to reoffend, if that makes sense.
right.
I'm
Well,
hearing you kind of have that fear within yourself, if there is a possibility that you could do this again, and the only way you can prevent it is to not be around juveniles. Is that correct?
don't even put myself in the situation to begin with. Right.
But, sometimes those situations come up. I mean, unexpectedly, you can't assure that there will never be a time where you won't have access to a child in a situation where it's just you and the child. You could actually go and pick up a child and put that child in a situation where it's just the two of you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do.
But those urges are still there. People with addictions to cocaine, they say, well, I just won't be around it anymore. But when that urge hits you,
Right.
you're going to go look for it. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
I got you. I understand.
And the last time you took sex offender treatment was in 2000 what?
3, I believe, or 4.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I went to my class and I learned a lot from it. I remember things about it, you know. There's always room for improvement. There always is.
So let me ask, Warren, do you all have the sex offender treatment program at your facility?
Yes, ma'am, we do.
All right. Mr. Borderline, it might not be a bad idea for you to, since we don't have documentation of it anyway, it might not be a bad idea for you to reinforce what you learned by taking that program again, since it is offered where you are right now. How do you feel about taking it over again?
If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I got to do what I have to do. I will go through it pretty quickly. I remember some things about it, so that's a help.
Okay, all right, you're probably right. Gordon, is there anything else you can tell us about Mr. Bordelon? How long has he been at your facility?
Yes, ma'am, he got here in February of this year, so he hadn't been here that long. I haven't had much contact with him at all. I just more or less have the same information y'all have on his disciplinary issues pretty good. And also as far as his programs, all we do have here is his pre-release on phase 1 and 2. We could not find the other programs he spoke about at Angola and Raymond Laborde.
Well, Mr. Bordelon, I really think it's essential that you retake sex offender treatment because we have no proof. And without proof, it's as if it never happened. You understand?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you talking with me.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Mr. Bordelon, is there a statement you'd like to make to us before we vote?
Ma'am,
Is there a statement you'd like to make to us to wrap it up?
but when would I see y'all again?
Well, we have to vote first, so
Oh,
asking if you would like
okay.
to make a statement.
This is my first time
I
ever in trouble,
Miss Crystal's trying to help you out.
So,
you know.
Mr. Bordelon, they're asking if you would like to make a statement before they vote for you.
No, I think y'all have what y'all have. I know y'all don't have my paperwork. It may be still at Cotton Board. I'm disappointed about that. I feel that I'm a lot better person. I'm more aware of myself since I've been locked up. That I know. I realize how a wicked person I can be, but I also realize I could be a way better person. That's that's my statement about myself.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bordelon, we'll be voting now, and I'm gonna vote first, and I think you know the outcome. We believe that you need to take the sex offender treatment. Even if you took it at Angola, I still think you could benefit from retaking it. So my vote today is to deny your parole based on the opposition that's been expressed and also the need for the sex offender treatment. So that's my vote, Ms. Johnson.
Likewise, Mr. Bordelon, I'm glad that you're gaining some insight into your situation, but I think that there's some more work that you need to do. I definitely think you need to repeat the sex offender treatment again, and I think you need to do victim awareness because I really, truly don't think that you understand how devastating this was for both young ladies involved, but particularly the daughter. I mean, she's, her relationship with males for the rest of her life has been impacted by this. And she's torn because you're her father on the one hand, but on the other hand, you're her abuser. So you put her in a no-win situation. And you need to understand that. And the same thing for your niece. Both of those young ladies, their lives have been absolutely devastated. And, to release you today, I think would just cause further devastation to them at this point. And so my vote today is going to be to deny because strong opposition from the legal community and from the victims, and your need to repeat the sex offender treatment program as well as victim awareness. But good luck to you, Mr. Bordelon. Keep working hard.
Okay.
It's fine.
Mr. Bordelon, when I read your record, one of the things that impressed me is that you didn't drag out the court system. You got arrested in October, May, and you were sentenced in November. I can see you just kind of want to go ahead and get it done. You accepted it, you owned it. I just want to give you a nod for that. But today, my vote is the same. I voted deny for the reasons already stated on the record. Best wishes to you, sir.
All right, Mr. Bordelon, so today your parole's been denied. I recommend that you get with Ms. Crystal or the colonel there and see if you can sign up for the sex offender treatment, also the victim awareness. You'll have the opportunity to reapply, and you have to reapply, and Ms. Crystal can help you figure out when you'll be eligible again. Take the programs. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
What did we just watch? Frankly, it feels like we just saw a caricature of a pedo, of a roach. If you had to say, hey, this is what a roach is, it would be this man with his answers, with his mannerisms, with everything that he said verbatim. I mean, he's right out of casting. It feels like we're watching a morbid Saturday Night Live skit with Miss Jackson there and the pedo over here, and it's insane. His own daughter and his niece, and the way that he talks about it, and it's almost like when Miss Jackson mentioned his niece, it looked like he for a moment was back in time and he was happy thinking about it. They gave him 40 years, which is quite impressive for Louisiana. And it's you can see he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. That might be the understatement of the century. So maybe the detectives were just able to get him to confess, and they got it all. And they did a plea deal, so they wouldn't have to get. But what's scary to think, he's still locked up. He's 60 years old today. Now his full term date is he still has another 10 years left on his sentence. Let me double check that. Okay, it's 16 years. 2040 is his full term dating. He was arguing whether he would get 85%, and they said they don't. Hopefully he was. That was the interesting part too. Like he seemed to be really low IQ, but at the same time, he seemed smart enough to know that the interview is over. Remember, he said, "Oh, when do I get to have a new hearing?" Right? When they asked him to give his final statement. That's someone who's smart enough to realize what's going on. We've seen people who don't realize it yet. And he was also, intelligent enough to say, well, the minutes of my court hearing said that I had 85%. So maybe chopping him up to low IQ isn't it's just jumping the gun. It just might be part of his manipulation or just the way that he comes off. It's what is there to say? There's no appeals, there's no court documents, there's no. We probably will see him again, assuming he doesn't have a write-up, which, I was surprised to even hear that he had a single write-up at all, period. We probably will see him again. I think it's 5 years for these offenses. So we're probably, this was 8/1/2021. We might see him in the next 12 months. And if we do, check out the playlist for the return of. That's where we play all of those who we see for a second time. Now, Sir Richard put in the spreadsheet that I should cover this a long time ago, and I missed it. There are so many hearings. There are just thousands, and I'm gonna go through these older hearings to look for them. There are so many that I need to cover. I can't believe that I missed this one. The only thing I guess I'm grateful for is that this hearing didn't take place in Connecticut. It didn't take place in Iowa. He would have been sent out with a cookie and a pat on the back, and this was a good hearing and a parole. And for those of you, I mean, that's the truth. If you haven't seen the Iowa hearings, check the link below for my second channel. I'm not trying to look like I'm promoting myself. I'm just being, it's serious stuff, right? And then check out the Iowa playlist. It's disturbing, and I was shocked when I first saw Iowa because I thought Iowa was going to be strict on crime, but not when it comes to parole. They are nuts. I call them psychopaths. I don't know what the right word is, but they parole left and right with a pat on the back and a cookie. I have nothing else to add here. Miss Jackson handled it I just love the way she nonchalantly asked, you know what a pedophile is? You know what a sexual predator is? Because that's what you are, sir. I mean, really, was what it was. Yeah, where's the DA? Of course, the DA doesn't show up. This is the type of case where you need the DA. But I think it's if you ever you want to show what a monster looks like, what a roach looks like, what a pedophile looks like, this is it. This is it right here. You don't need to go any farther. And with that, I'll let you go.
Are you a pedophile?
I would have to classify myself definitely as one, because I did it. I mean, there's no backing down from what I did, obviously.